All right, we are back again for another episode of the Throwin Sliders podcast, episode 72, Rippin the Top. And we'll explain why we have the naming convention that we do for tonight's episode. Throwin Sliders podcast is part of the Scrubbin' Tires Media family, the number one racing podcast in the state of Colorado and surrounding areas. Thank you all for our every weekers and avid fans, listeners, supporters for making that the case. Undisputed, and we're very proud of that fact. I am Brandon Hall, the washed up driver with a very short racing career. If you tuned into last week's episode, hats off to Blair for an incredible episode. Thoroughly enjoyed that. So if you didn't get a chance to check that out, go back to our Facebook page, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Listen to that one. And to my right is the driver of the number 32 ASCS sprint car, fresh off a race this weekend in Callahan. How you doing tonight, Mr. Blair Cooper?
Man, I'm good. Finally, it's cooling down. I actually was going to tell you, I don't know if you could hear the rain beating off my windows here.
No, it was sprinkling around. We need it, so don't complain about that.
Yeah.
Oh, we already got a comment.
That
turn 3-4 wall. That'll get you every time. We'll dive into that. But glad Blair's good to go. It was a eventful night, but a short night nonetheless. We'll get into that. But tonight's episode, of course, is brought to you by Hoosier of the Rockies, Mark and Samantha Hamilton of Hamilton Motorsports. Are they in Knoxville? I think they're in Knoxville as we speak. We'll get into that with the upcoming events. I believe that's what Tara said, so I'm going to go with that.
Okay.
They're there moving Maddie in for college, and obviously with one of the biggest events on deck, they are there to support. And speaking of support, they support the show. We thank them for their continued support of this podcast, Scrubbin' Tires Media, all the things. Greatly appreciate what they're doing, and they're running a sale. I saw 5% off sprint car tires, so it's never too late. And obviously methanol, saw a lot. That's good little graphic Sam put together there. So if you're looking for last second Christmas gifts, now's your chance. It's on sale. So anyway, we'll give them their seconds of shine there. And Blair's going to break down the weekend that was at El Paso County. If you're serious about performance, whether that's on the track or off-road, you already know having the right components and having them readily available is crucial. And that's exactly where Hoosier of the Rockies comes in. They are the official Hoosier tire dealer of Colorado, which makes it incredibly convenient for local racers to get the tires and supplies they need without the hassle of waiting or traveling out of state. What really sets them apart, though, is that they're not just your typical brick and mortar shop. They're right there in the action, trackside supporting racers when it counts most. Whether you need fresh tires between sessions or race weekends, fuel to keep you running, or critical components like radius rods, rod ends, wheels, and more, they've got you covered right then and there. Don't have what you're looking for? No problem. They can also order you and your team just about anything they stock in various sizes, colors, and specifications. Just let them know. That kind of support can make or break a race weekend, and it's why so many drivers trust them when it matters most. On top of that, Mark and Samantha Hamilton of Hamilton Motorsports bring real experience and passion to everything they do. They understand the demands of racing because they live it, and they're always ready with the right recommendations to keep you performing at your best. They race, you race, so let's race together. If you're looking to stay competitive and fully supported on or off the track, check out Hoosier of the Rockies and see why racers across the region rely on them. Call 303-632-6360. Visit them on Facebook, Hamilton Motorsports Racing, or stopping by locally in Arvada, Colorado. Hoosier of the Rockies and Hamilton Motorsports, the proud partner of Scrubbin' Tires Media and the Throwin Sliders podcast. I will say, your father-in-law Tom, he is a walking billboard for Hoosier of the Rockies. He loves all the merch, and so if Tom can get you in touch with the with Hamilton Motorsports and Hoosier of the Rockies. But big thanks to them. Welcome in everybody. Folks are trickling in. Mark Ashcraft, we do have your mailbag questions on deck for tonight, so thank you so much for submitting those. We had one last week, I believe, and decided to hold it for today, and I saw you submitted another one, so thank you so much for that. We'll get into that. But Mr. Blair, for those that don't know, was running his 360 this weekend, ASCS Western points race. Short crowd, but yeah, take us through the weekend.
Well, it was good that you came down and helped us out a little bit, kind of quick turnaround. Car counts were down a little bit. They moved venues on us, 76, like we talked about last weekend. Guess they didn't want us, but guys were kind of scattered out anyway. Belleville, Kansas, the 305 Nationals were going on. So we'll maybe do a little recap of that tonight. But I've heard some mixed reviews. I heard the racetrack was really in bad shape, I believe, on the first night, but we can touch on that a little bit after. So yeah, a little short on car count. Was a points race for us, so I thought we'd show up and go try it anyway. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, it was I was a little bit concerned even on car counts, crowd sizes, everything. It ended up turning out to be a really good crowd, which is not exactly what you want to see on a down car count night. But for us, I was kind of excited when we all everybody in the sprint cars kind of collaborated together and said, hey, let's do some single car qualifying, which I prefer much more over a heat race. I wish we just did qualifying and we could even skip the heats and just do either a trophy dash or something, kind of more of like the asphalt lines on some of their big races. But yeah, so it was funny. I'm all pepped up, go to qualifying. Track looks like it's in pretty decent shape. Ran my test lap out there, and it actually felt like the car was pretty hooked up, trunked the wing a little bit, and thought we're going to have some grip. Well, I went to stand on it coming to the start finish line, hit some grease, and it got real tight and wanted to get to the wall there, so I had to back out of it. And by the time I got to the flag stands, when I got full pedal, and I went, oh, well, this lap's shot, but let's see what we can do. And then the second lap, I was like, I'm going to try to make up for that lap, and it didn't go well at all. So was off by quite a bit, put me towards the back, and with no heat race like that, I was okay with it. But yeah, went straight to the mains, and we had a little bit of chaos in between there, didn't we, Brandon?
Yeah, you're teeing me up there. So
I'm a pro.
Yeah, you are. You did one solo interview, and now he's got it figured out. No, I guess, obviously and there I go. If you listened to last week, saying the filler word, but
yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, get him out of the way early. But we talked about this in the past, and I feel like maybe it's present at a lot of local tracks. Obviously, national tours, they kind of got their poop in a group and consistency and that kind of thing. And I feel like that's what drivers and crews and even fans, we were talking about it in the pre-show. If I were a fan and I consistently go to a track and it's kind of all over the place with when intermission is, if there's an intermission, and then when track prep goes on during the night. But yeah, I feel like from my vantage point, you get done with your hot laps, and obviously you explain kind of the track conditions. So you come in the pits and you get out of the car and you're like, we're going to do this. We need to do that. We need to do that. So everybody gets to work, and later or out of the car, maybe 2 minutes. And I'm being conservative there. Mm-hmm. And I'm under the car, putting the jack underneath it. And I'm not sure who it was, track official. Somebody comes up and says, all right, sprint cars, you're up next for qualifying. And I'm like, we just got off the track. Like, mm-hmm. What do you mean we're up next? So we're, then the anxiety starts to kick in because you want some adjustments, and we're trying mm-hmm. to make them fast, and that's when mistakes happen, and everybody's just kind of riled up. And I don't know if this was, we were pitted next to Gossel. I didn't really have time to look over there to see if they were kind of as frantic, or maybe they had the car how they needed, but nevertheless, we didn't. Obviously, you went out, saw the track, felt the track, and you're like, hey, we need to make some adjustments. But yeah, it's just it's a weird thing because there was 9 classes there ish.
I think so, which is probably also like adding us and stuff like that makes a difference. But that's okay. I'm going to cut you off for just 1 sec because I wanted to ask you, like, now being kind of on that side of it too. You've obviously had the cart and everything out, but obviously got to get this car up in the air. So it takes a little bit more time. Even on the crew side of it, obviously you have an invested interest in us doing well. Does that, is it palpable for you of like, man, this is going to be like, it just doesn't feel, not that you're always going to have time, but it feels like it just adds an extra layer of like, man, just give us the 7 minutes, we just came off, that kind of organized flow to it.
Yes. To answer your question, 100%. And when we did that national tour race, when, I'm drawing a blank, podcast alumni, Blake Hahn, and everybody, mm-hmm. Sam was there. Everybody was there. They told you in the pit meeting, hey, we run a tight ship where you're going to have X amount of minutes from warm up to hot laps to qualifying to feature or heat race, I pretend like I know what I'm talking about. I just can't spit it out.
Yeah.
But they tell you, and that's consistent, and it's consistent across the board. Now we know, okay, if Blair wants to change, we got 5 minutes, and then that damn air horn that gives you a heart attack, that's going off. All right, you got 30 seconds to get this thing ready. So to answer your question, yes, like there's no, at least I didn't hear it, maybe, and I was there for the entire driver meeting, I feel like, but yeah, no communication, right? Like, hey, right after hot lap sprint cars, you're going back out there for qualifying. If you would have told us that, then we know then it's up to us to make those adjustments, if applicable, and get you back out there. But with no communication, like you said, we're just starting to get the car up in the air, and hey, you guys are going back out there. And it's like, okay, we'll just put the car back down on the ground and run what we brung, I guess. So yeah, long way of answering your question, but
yeah. And I mean, it's really not even to be critical of just this, because I've run into a lot of other places where and I think like the horn is a big help. So this is all just stuff. If you are a track promoter, like, and obviously Joe's raced for a long time too. So he does understand that. And there's a show to run, and you do have a curfew there and stuff like that. And now you got a ton of classes, and credit where credit is due. You and I can even hit on this now. We talked about, he knows there's been a problem with the track. I mean, it's just not been fun to race. It's there. It hasn't held any moisture. So we did get a rework. So after that point, I felt like everything was pretty much spot on, go. You know, how it, you know, a clean, good show. We had time. Everybody knew it was going to happen. Up to that, cleaning up the show on the front end. And then maybe, you know, some of the things we've seen that have been beneficial. If you have enough crew or something and you're allotted a little bit of time, when they do that rework, drivers can get under and it doesn't have to be sprint cars, but some nights you're going to be up earlier, some nights you're going to be later. Guys can get under the grandstands, and he's done that before, where we sign stuff, sell t-shirts. I mean, even that extra, you know, if you make $100 extra that night, that covers 3 pit passes basically.
Sure.
So, I mean, that was cool to see the rework. We got to go stand up there. We saw guys putting screwdrivers down in it. Get to take a real good look and then determine, hey, this is where we think we're going to be at. We're going to be 4th out. You know, there was a little confusion there, but they ended up saying, hey, we're going with what we got. You know, and then the lightning sprint guys, I know when with Steve there, they were a little frustrated because it was the first time probably this year they've been where the track was actually juiced up for them. And when we watched that, everybody but Woods was so tight, they look like dump trucks. So I do think that is a move in a positive direction. And if we get some consistency there, I think you can actually, for the dirt we have, put together a more consistent surface. I still think they need to cut down on the classes. And granted, like I said, we were added to the show, but that intermission, the re-roll that sells beer, hot dogs, you know, everybody has a little bit more time. They can go take their bathroom break there. And it just seems like that makes the whole night a little less chaotic and a little bit better show in total. So, but yeah, I mean, kudos for the rework. I felt like that was even, you got some ruts. They went and knocked them down. It wasn't rutted up deep. You know, it wasn't like it was hard clay that's been rained on for 3 weeks. So, that was actually kind of fun. I was looking forward to the surface. Is just so mixed there. I mean, it was already drying out on the straight, but that's kind of, I'm sorry to keep just rambling here, but no, that's kind of the other thing too, is by cutting those classes down, even if you're up against a curfew, if you can put asses in the seats and build the show, starting a little bit later in Colorado is absolutely beneficial. I mean, the sun gets off it a little bit, so now that water does hold up better. I mean, it just gets cooler here.
Done by what, 7:30? All classes?
Yeah, sure.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, I mean, that's car count too.
Right. And to your point, car count or not, you had 9 classes there, I believe. Back to my point of why on earth would you have a class? It doesn't matter if it's, you know, the Warriors or junior compacts or whatever the case is. Well, I guess it does matter because, you know, maybe Jordan could elaborate, but like on a junior compact or, you know, Warrior a little bit, like you do have some adjustments that you can make probably on the junior compacts, more so like air pressure, that kind of thing, adding fuel, whatever the case. But why on earth would they go out for hot laps and then immediately come back to the pits, stop, get out, get back in, go to qualifying when you have 8 other classes that can do hot laps or qualifying, mix them all in, be consistent. To me, it's a I don't even lack of words, but it's just
counterproductive in some ways.
Yeah, counterproductive, non-efficient. Yeah, it's but anyway, it is what it is. But yes, I don't know if it was the intermission. when the track rework happened. But again, yeah, it was, granted, I've only been to El Paso probably 6-ish times now, but that was probably the best condition that I've seen that track in from just a soil perspective and everything. So they did a really good job there. We were talking about this in the pre-show too. I think Jen and Jason were staged kind of right in front of you, and that you were one of the first sprint cars up. And I felt bad because Jason's wrenching on, it looked like the right rear shock or something, because I don't think it was communicated how much, water and sheep's footing and everything like that was going to go on. So again, back to however many episodes ago when that kind of happened to you guys in staging. It's just to the point, I feel like, and obviously we're on this platform and we're saying our piece, and everybody's entitled to say what they want and their opinions. But if we just had a little bit of consistency, like any track you go to, dirt track, hey, we're gonna, and even asphalt, I guess, but we're gonna do the rework at intermission. Then all the drivers know.
Yeah. I do think if they start being consistent with that, you will get better results overall. So that does. It's like if I have at least an idea, because the dirt's, it's just, the dirt is not, it's not like we're going down to the southern states or to Iowa or something like that. So to make do with what you got, you do have to at least give some. I mean, it's still like the dirt. It was funny. We can even talk about me getting the fence a little bit, which, I mean, there were some ruts there, which, like I said, they weren't deep, but you could roll through them or you could get above or below them. And
or you could go through them like
yeah, you could. I mean, you could drive. So like that part wasn't bad, but it is funny like how quick out of two place gives up grip, which honestly, if it had a little more, if it was a little stickier in 3 and 4, which this has nothing to do with prep even, it's just the dirt that they have, is that, something to lean on, which, would make it, the racing will get better. And I think that turn 4 wall being widened a little bit did help, as far as like, I wasn't afraid to just knock the thing down as hard, coming out of 4. But, the guys were going to be around the bottom for the most part. So it's like, well, I'm going to have to make my own lane coming from back here. So we cranked her down a little bit and get the wing in the back and see what you can do. But it's just kind of funny that I think if they're starting to recognize and probably even Joe that, hey, this is obviously something needed to change here. So, like I said, kudos for at least being like, hey, we've got to do something here, or guys don't want to come run it. That's kind of where I was at even.
Yeah. And Mark, to his point, and I always forget the track guy, Clint. So when I got there about 2:00, I came up to you and the first thing I said was, wow, the track looks great. And obviously it had rained a lot down there throughout the week. And even going into the show, it was like, wow, it looks pretty damn good. And then obviously it kind of did what it did after warm up and, the various heat races and qualifying and whatnot. But yeah, I think just consistency, I think, is the next step, and I think we'll be in the right direction.
Well, and that just goes to show you. So kudos to Clint, because he did have that place looking really nice. That is a part of, and I've said this about Honor too, is stay off it until a little bit later. Knock a couple classes down, you will get a better result, because when we were there in September, obviously the weather's a lot cooler, so that place can hold some moisture. Now, granted, it's harder to get it there. You're going to take more mudding in, but with the equipment, the sheep's foot, knocking it down, much better. So anyway, we won't harp on that anymore, but
sure.
Yeah, we appreciate the work that goes into it too. So I don't want to just sound like we're being negative, because I wasn't disappointed. I was better.
No, it was
all for improvement. So, and we can work that.
Gunner's in the building. No, we did not, Gunner. We went back to,
thank God. I'd probably even hotter down there.
Right. What was I going to say? Oh no, and to the point that we're originally trying to make in this segment is walking through your night in the feature. We, like you said, we strapped you down. We're like, hey, we're going to guess that it's going to hold a little bit of moisture. It's fallen off a little bit since the rework, but we strapped you down. And in my opinion, I'm no Gunnar Harris over here, but in my opinion, I feel like we nailed it. Obviously, with the qualifying effort that you had alluded to, we were starting in the back. So I told you, they're going to be on the bottom, maybe a lane up, half a lane up. And hence why we named the episode Rippin' the Top. For the first 3-4 laps, man, you were making progress, passing, having a good, who are you battling with the 16? I always forget his name.
Hardman. And
Yeah.
I knew he was going to stay stuck to the bottom. And it actually was funny because it took me a couple laps to get the wing trunked, just to feel it out, because I didn't want to get up there and get just, it's like I'm carrying a little bit of speed. I don't want to get it wing tight. And let's see what we got. In other words, mechanically, because you're not just carrying enough airspeed there to really make a big difference, unless it's really juiced up early. But by being on the top up there, I could actually feel within 2 laps of where I was just like hit the exact same spot, because you could actually feel like if you miss by about 6 inches, you're back in the grease. I'm like, well, no, we don't have enough cars. Nobody's going to run this in. It's going to have to be me. But if I can do that for 10 or 15 laps, I could feel within the first 3 laps, you're starting to stick it a little bit. And then obviously that's when, so for those who didn't see, it was, and I mean, no fault of his own. I was giving him shit all night about it just because it was funny to me. I'm like, but McCune got into the ruts a little bit and he bicycled the car. Well, I'm right on entry and I start to set the car in and I see him out of the left front corner of the bars, bike that thing straight up.
Oh yeah.
2 wheels. He got it pretty Western there. And when he did that, I unloaded the car really quick. Well, that sucker, it went straight to grease, and now I've got an unloaded chassis. So I just absolutely laid my foot on the boards and was like, keep it off the fence. I thought I was going to hit the wall pretty good. And luckily they had back some mud up there, but also what saved me is what killed me. And I thought I broke the ladder when I hit it. I was like, man, I didn't hit it hard, but shame on us. We forgot a mud plug at El Paso County. And it just absolutely packed the wheel full of mud, and it felt like I broke the ladder because it started vibrating. So I took off again, thought, oh, nothing's hurt. And then when I stood on it, it just shook my teeth. It was like one of those chattering teeth things, I was like, oh, I broke the ladder or bent a wheel or something. I was like, I didn't hit hard. This sucks. So I even tried to go again. And then when I stood on it, it's just wiggle while you work, but
no,
anyway.
from where Tara and I were standing, obviously Cole, obviously unfortunate for him too, ended up getting a podium out of the deal, but the worst spot that could have happened to you, just like you said, you were just about to set the car and he's up on 2 wheels, and you had no choice. And I told Cole this after the race, if he would have went over either you or the other guy, it would have been bad. It would have been ugly. Like you guys were hauling ass and he would have been just sitting there like a sitting duck. But nevertheless, glad that didn't happen. And it didn't. We knew you kissed the wall because you could see a little bit of mud fly over the wall. But it's just unfortunate. But I guess for those watching and maybe those that didn't come over and look, there was a lot of mud. And it was, I had to get a screwdriver and pry it out of there. That's how stuck it was. It wasn't just put your hand in there, grab it and throw it out. It was like I had to pry it out, and it was almost like a cement that had formed, in a sense, a brown, cement that had formed. But
I think packing fudge.
Yeah, I was unpacking fudge. Be politically correct.
Almost worse.
Right.
Sounds way worse.
But I think you were on the phone with your mom at that point, and you're like, "Yeah, I don't know how much mud, but there was probably 15 pounds." Probably, obviously, mud's pretty heavy.
I know you took it out. I knew it was a lot, but it's kind of funny. I never had that happen, especially at Callahan. I didn't even think about it because I used to have a theory about keeping, if you really didn't need a mud cover, because some of these Colorado tracks that I was like, well, we'll just keep the heat out of the tire, make sure we don't get it to grow any more than we need to.
Sure.
But obviously now, but we still usually throw them on, especially if there's any moisture in the thing, just to keep that stuff out of the wheel. But dang, the one that came back and bit us, something so small like that is kind of funny.
Yeah.
I just kind of looked at it and was like, that was stupid.
Well, I'm like we talked about after, we're glad you did that because, I'm not a sprint car aficionado, but if you have a pickup slider broken or anything, you're going to ruin some bearings and shift some things and get the car out of all, not being square. So did the right thing. It was just unfortunate. Maybe it would have been better in a sense, if that happened with 2 to go, right? Because you could have enjoyed the whole show, but nevertheless,
it keeps the laps off the motor. If you're going to screw it up, do it early and pull it in. Because I had some nozzle lines. That was kind of another thing in the back of my head. I got a couple nozzle lines that it was we had a little kind of junk in there, and I cleaned them again. So got new ones to replace. So that was kind of in the back of my head. I was like, man, are they going to start coming apart on me? But motor ran great. No complaints. But no, Gunner, I don't run bleeders. So just nitrogen. I'm po boy. But nitrogen's getting out of control too. So I might be on. It's always 6 to 1, half a dozen. But
right.
Anyway,
no, it was fun. It was really fun to because generally speaking, the last couple of times we've been there, it's been a bottom feeder track, And passing basically comes down to who makes a mistake, and you can get a nose underneath them. And I told you, like, right in staging, and I was like, try it for 2 laps up there. And if you're not making any hay, then step back in line, and it is what it is. But right away you were making ground, and I was like, hell yeah. Like, I looked back at Tara, and she was recording, so she didn't see me, but I was like, hell yeah, like, we got him hooked up. And then damn Cole had to ruin the night.
Could have been even. The car could have been even tighter, but I think rolling my own line, and it was like, I was like, man, this is fun to do at Calhan, to where you got a guy underneath you, because it's just so rare. So that's why I was like, I wasn't really even disappointed, except for I made an idiot mistake and not telling him to pack that on. But if we could get more of that, or if they can even get it to where they have some sort of cushion,
absolutely.
I wonder about, like, I've talked about this, and I know some places kind of cheat it to do
I'm just reading Gunner's comment there. Yeah.
Just cheat the cushion and actually pack that thing in. You know, I've seen some places build up their own beforehand. It's like, we're not going to be able to run in. It's not like hard clay, but
sure.
Gunner, we didn't burn up any tires. That thing had some juice in it. No rubber.
We were siphoning them. We were
bussing the top, baby.
Yeah, no, it was fun. And like I said, I'm a big proponent of whether it's asphalt or dirt. Like, if you can get a 1.5 lane, or even better 2, typically you're not going to see a 3-lane track anywhere you go. But man, if you can get side by side, like, I guarantee you, obviously we didn't watch the rest of that show, and hats off to Brian for winning that thing. But if that could have went on for 20 laps, that would have been so badass to watch as a spectator, like, getting your money's worth. Obviously there was, we can talk about the Warriors a little bit, wrecking half the field before the green flag, but there was excitement, throughout the night. But anytime you're too wide, and we were watching that Warriors show, and they were same thing, kind of 2 lanes, one high, one low, and then they ended up wrecking or spinning each other out, which is unfortunate. But
an artificial cushion. Yeah, maybe, whatever. I mean, girls get implants, we get a fake cushion. I don't care.
Right. Yeah. Burn that thing up. Put a PVC up there, cut it in half, and put some dirt over it.
I'll run the billboards if they're banked. You know what I mean? I don't care. So whatever it takes to get around a place. But that might be, I don't know. Yeah. Try it. Shit. Can't hurt.
Yeah. We can make a couple $1 million.
Gunner's in the comments too. We got to know how they did after the podcast, how they did in California. So let us know, Gunner. What'd you guys finish overall average? So just let us hear it. But anyway, sorry, I'm just all over the place. It's been kind of fun. It was a fun weekend. I appreciate you coming down. We all worked our ass. It was hotter than I thought it was going to be, but it's always good to see everybody. I know, I got a bone to pick though while we're on it with Steve Becker. He said he don't know how to watch a podcast, which was the first time he's lied right to my face, because he said, I've been on the podcast, and I was like, Steve, you sneaky dog. You're watching Kill Tony. Yeah, I know what he's doing. Skipping the pod and watching Kill Tony.
No, and we did have a funny, and if BJ Sowers watching, him and Steve were all kind of together there in Jen Woods in the pit meeting, drivers meeting. And obviously I am a very faithful man, but we had to make a little light of the situation with the prayer. Got interrupted, I think, about 5 times with other important updates for the night. And so we made a joke. This is John 417. And we were actually going to name the podcast that, but when I was making the episode, I actually looked, and John 4:17 is an actual verse in the book of John, and it's talking about multiple, like, wives and stuff like that. So I didn't feel like it was applicable to what we were trying to talk about, but it is funny for those 5-6 people that were standing there. We'll always live by John 4:17. So anyways, it was a cool night. Appreciate you letting me come down to help, and it's good to see everybody, of course. And after the show, we can kind of segue into that. Obviously, we were watching in the Gospels trailer, watching the national tour race where Austin was running, and that was just kind of cool. Cole and everybody was standing there, and old man Gospel, and he is that animated as you see him at the track. He's still yelling at the TV too. So that guy's just on the chip all the time. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, that was fun getting to watch it in the hauler, and Austin had a good show. Kyler Johnson got his first ASCS National Tour win. That kid's been knocking at the door for a while. He's been fast all year, pretty consistent. But Austin put a good run together up there in Minnesota. And where the mosquitoes are like birds, and
they are.
So that was good to see him have another good night. So second at Dodge and third there in Minnesota. So we always root for our Colorado guys on the road. We really dog on the Texas guys, and just go from there. So it's It's all good.
Yeah.
It's Gunner posted in there. They didn't do quite as well as they should, but 4th overall in points and made the show at Skagit with 50 cars. So pretty successful outing. We're always rooting for them too. But hopefully we get to run with them again. I know I'll be down in Vado, I think, with them, and we'll see what we can do down there. So
hell yeah. We'll have some good content there. All right. We're going to take a break for an ad, but on the other side of that ad, we are going to talk about obviously the Knoxville Nationals. Blair brought up just a weird ornament, I guess you could say, in the pre-show, and I actually have a funny story to tell about that. What else were we going to talk about? There was something else.
CNS.
Yes, that's right. So on the other side of the break, don't go anywhere. Get you a sip of water, whatever you got for the we'll call it the second segment. But Mountain Ops, thank you again. Right on cue. Blair's got it. I have it too, but since I'm talking, I won't make you hear that. What's that? It's an acronym where you hear the sounds and it's like soothing.
ASMR.
ASMR, like you don't want to hear
Very
me drinking. Yeah, we don't like chopping up stuff, and you don't want to hear me drinking. But anyways, there is Mountain Ops in this here Yeti. We obviously love it. We were drinking it all weekend. Just good stuff, and can't thank them enough for their continued support of the podcast. And if you guys have any questions about it, do drop us a line in the mailbag on one of our that's what the other section is, the mailbag. I told Mark we'd get to his question. So we got a lot on the other side. I'm gonna shut the hell up, play Mountain Ops. We appreciate them, and we'll get back to it. Whether you're chasing checkered flags, chasing elk in the mountains, casting a line, or crushing early morning workouts in the gym, there's one name every high performer should know: Mountain Ops. This team fuels athletes, hunters, racers, and weekend warriors with the cleanest, hardest-hitting supplements on the market. Let's be honest, this sport isn't for the soft. Late nights in the garage, long drives to the track, and hot evenings in the pits and in the car. We are built different. That's why we run on Mountain Ops. Their supplements hit hard, feel clean, and don't have all that junk you can't pronounce. From early mornings to late nights on race day, this is the stuff that keeps the crew moving and ready for the next lap. Want in? Head to mtnops.com, enter code TSPodcast at checkout, and get 20% off your order. That's right, enter code TSPODCAST at checkout for 20% off your order. You don't just want to show up, you want to win. Fuel like you mean it. Winners use Mountain Ops. Proud supporting partner of the Throwin Sliders podcast. All right. It's pretty easy. You go to checkout, whatever's in your cart. There's a little enter promo discount, and you enter that code, all caps, TS Podcast, get 20% off. Usually it nets, depending on how much is in your cart, at the very least, free shipping. So with the cost of shipping nowadays, I don't know about you, Blair, but anytime I'm buying something, like I customized a pair of Nikes the other day. I'm like, hell yeah. Like it's super expensive. All right. Like that's like half my year's savings right there on a pair of shoes, but I ordered it, and then you get to checkout and it's like, oh, this tax, and oh, shipping is this. And I'm like, well, damn, now that $120 pair of shoes turned into $160. It's annoying, but with our promo code, you can dissolve that. So you're welcome, and thank you for being supportive of the show. All right. What did we want to get into? CNS first, Knoxville, mailbag. Up to you, Blair.
I don't care. I was going to ask, I know Mark's still in the chat too. Maybe post up some stuff. I haven't seen a whole lot on 600, so maybe drop us what you guys got coming up too, so we can look forward to a little bit of that. I know a lot of the people watching go back through the comments, so we're going to try to start covering a little bit more of all these guys. It's been a little chaotic, but I don't know. We can go back. Maybe let's talk a little bit about CNS while we're on it. We'll do a little asphalt for a second because it's fresh on the brain. I actually watched some clips right before I came home. So did you get to catch any of that?
Yeah, I watched obviously just the highlights like you did, and kind of it was cool. If I may, I'll say it's good to see. Obviously, I wasn't there, but it's good to see Samantha and Brexton smiling after everything that they've been through, and they seem like they were, they could have easily just been in their trailer, their truck, whatever, their rig, whatever they got, and just not talking after everything that happened. But it seemed like everybody was taking photos with them, and Brexton was giving interviews left and right, and he did really well. I don't know where he finished. I think it was towards the top, but so that was first thing that I noticed. And then you would think that if you didn't know Kevin Harvick's past, that he grew up racing here. Like, I don't know what the hell it is about him in that track, but he was on a rail.
Yeah, no, that was pretty awesome. I mean, talk about running the top. It kind of follows the show tonight. I'd never really seen a lot of guys, especially in late models, or was that cars too, or that was super
Yeah.
lates or lates?
I think it's lates. They got so many damn rules we talked about.
Yeah,
It was a late model. I don't know what engine it had.
yeah, I would imagine with him it's probably a super, I would assume, but
I don't think so, because Keelan's
no, late model stock or something.
Yeah. No, it's not the stocks. It's like the
Semi-pro stuff.
I don't freaking
limited
know. Someone in the
okay.
Yeah, limited
Pro late.
Someone in
it
the
was
comments.
pro late models.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
Pro lates. Thank you.
Pro late. Perfect. Thank you. I knew they'd know. That chat always comes through. Thank you, Warren.
But yeah, literally, if you watch, I don't even know, probably the last 5 laps of that race, like he was higher than a lot of people run at CNS, was just, again, super cool to see. I alluded to it earlier in the show. Like anytime you can get 2 lanes running, and there's opportunity, right, for CNS to have side-by-side racing, but he was up there and making lap time, like gaining on people, lapping people. It was really cool to see. And the Legend race, it seemed like they were hauling the mail. They always do. But yeah, it was, and not only, hats off to CNS and that whole deal, like consistently, obviously last year, Kevin and Keelan came, and it was a big deal. And like now they're obviously on the Cars Tour West, schedule. So that's cool. But when you're getting, whether it's current NASCAR drivers, former, I mean, Kevin's a champion of the biggest form in motorsports, coming to this track. Obviously, I think he enjoys it. Obviously, he's trying to, I think, help Keelan a little bit. I think he still has that itch, but you're getting these name brand faces, and obviously there's very talented drivers there, the Hansons, the Egglestons, everybody's still competing with those guys, but it's really, really cool to see. So wish we had that on the dirt a little bit.
Yeah, well, and then to take note, I mean, I saw Kyle Clegg's post, and he just said that Kevin stayed around and signed autographs for 2 hours or whatever till everybody that wanted one pretty much got one. And I think even if you're a guy that you don't have a line that's 2 hours long, to take notes that even if you've had a good night, I think if Kevin had a bad night, he still would have been out there doing
100%.
that. You and I talk about that a lot of the time, is like, to a kid or something, they don't know the difference, honestly. Like, there's kids that understand, hey, they want to get the winner and stuff, and he's Kevin Harvick, but to a lot of the little guys and stuff like that, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? They literally might like a car. So hats off to him for still being a good ambassador of the sport. And teaching his son probably how to conduct yourself professionally. And I mean, there's a reason why those guys are professionals. Some of it's luck, some of it's the talent they have behind the wheel, but a lot of it is, are you somebody you can work with? Because you're going to have those times where you struggle and pass all the time, Well,
and I'll share a quick story, not related to the other story that I was going to tell, but and I don't remember if I've told this story on the podcast or even to you, Blair, but back in my former company, when I was still working on the wind turbines, the oil that was in those gearboxes up there was ExxonMobil. And on the later half stint of Harvick's career, Exxon Mobil One, whatever, was one of the primary sponsors for Stuart Haas Racing. And the rep that we had, obviously you got to be careful in corporate America. Receiving gifts and stuff like that is a big no-no. But one of the things they were offering was tickets to a Texas race in the suite for ExxonMobil. And I was like, no, that's policy, buddy. I can't do that, but thank you. And he's like, well, we had talked, and he's like, you're into racing. I said, yeah, I race a little bit, whatever, in my short career, as Danny would say, and hope he's doing well. But yeah, so he's like, well, what about if we did the podcast, or not a podcast, but a Zoom meeting, Teams meeting with Harvick? And I was like, well, that's technically not a gift. It's just a call. So sign me up. So I got a couple of my buddies, and we jumped on this call. And to your point about Harvick, and this was still, I think this was 2018, 2019. And they were at the Charlotte Roval, and it was like raining pretty hard. And he had his PR person in the background, like no camera on, whatever. But we were purposely trying, and I wasn't trying to be a nuisance, and I had my Chase Elliott hat on, whatever. And we were trying to get him to like be who he kind of is off the track, which he's been known as a hothead, whatever. But he was so like PR and politically correct. Like I even told him, I was like, hey, like you've run go-karts, in your past, and like you've been in Colorado, like bring your fastest go-kart out and whoop your ass. And he just like stayed the course, didn't even like whatever. And then like one of my other buddies that was on the call was like, who's your least favorite driver? And we all know, like at the time, RIP, it was probably Kyle Busch, just because of that era and that attitude that he had. But he would not admit it. Like he would just say, "Oh, we have a relationship." Like those guys are so trained to, and then you see them on Sunday and they slip up a little bit, and that's when they get all in trouble and stuff. But anyway.
Right. But now he doesn't necessarily have to be either.
No,
I mean, that probably comes somewhat with age and the pressure's off, and now it's fun. And I mean, obviously he's got a lot of fans, and it kind of takes a lot of the rivalry part away for it, to where you see guys later in their career. Now they just are excited to see him go around. So there is something for superstars putting asses in the seats. I mean, it's just a thing, Yeah.
But, well, and cool. He's probably pushing 50 now, like, and to be still, because he's not just winning at CNS, he's winning at his own track in Bakersfield or wherever the hell that is. But he's still got it, right? I mean, he could still probably compete. I think it's just the grind of the NASCAR season that probably, makes him not want to do that aspect. But yeah, I think he's having fun with Keelan, and they're battling, right? There's been plenty of highlights that you see where they're damn near wrecking each other for the win, which I think is super cool. So yeah, hats off to CNS, and hopefully that can continue, because it's good for any local short track to have, those type of superstars coming back and competing and winning. Hey, BJ, there he is.
Yeah. Never know who's watching. Always got to be the best you can be. That's absolutely true. And then Warren, he is 50 years old, he said. So yeah, not a spring chicken, but he's still got a lot of racing probably left to do if he wants to.
Man.
Yeah, I don't know the NASCAR stuff. Obviously, Warren's been watching. He still likes the asphalt stuff too. So you got to get it all in. But anyway, good race, BJ too. He looked all right. Everybody, I know he was tight too, but it was good to see. So we got to watch the whole feature. That's the first time I've got to watch the Lightning guys in full feature for a while. So Jen Woods, she was the only one free enough to rotate around and get the car down through, and you see ya. But everybody else looked like they were having a rough go. I know Steve and a few of those guys said they were sketty when they got out.
Well, BJ came over and said, he's like, "Yeah, what are you guys doing? You got the tightest setup you can run." So anyway, but yeah, that was fun. Let's get to some mailbag questions. It took too long telling that on off the cuff anecdote. This mailbag question, I always want to introduce the mailbag with the Blues Clues from back in the day. Here's the mail, it never fails. Don't tell me I
go to jail.
Well, let's not talk about that. It was still a catchy song.
Okay, I missed that one.
What?
I didn't watch that one. You're younger than me. That was
not by much. How old are you?
38. I'll be 38 this year. So I'm 37.
5 years different.
No, I didn't watch Blues Clues. You were a loser. You were probably 12 watching it, weren't you?
No. Anyway, the OG Steve, regardless of what he did outside of the show that may or may not have ended up in jail time, there was a catchy song on the show talking about the mailbag, but in the essence of time, we're going to get to Mark's question from, I believe, last week. So the question is, what do you feel, and we appreciate the 5-star review. What do you feel we need to do in Colorado to grow racing? First part, do we need to race? Do we race too often, resulting in thinner car counts?
I think that could be a possibility. I've said that a lot, especially with the local shows. I agree 100%. And so cut down some of your weekly that lower the car counts. You get guys in the points, and I think track promotion, and this isn't just Colorado, this is in a lot of, and that's, we talk about the local versus the regional versus the national all the time. If local tracks would take time off, not compete against each other on some of those nights, put up the bigger races when they do have them, draw the car counts, that is definitely beneficial. We see that in some other states. And granted, even some states like in Iowa, you just have more cars, but I think bigger shows, stuff like that, when you guys bring guys out of state, we've seen that here at El Paso County, that last, 16, 17 sprint cars, big purse 2-day show. That's the other thing for these big shows. If you back off a weekly, make it a 2-day, really promote it. I've heard some say they don't make money on the first night. And then you make it up by the second night. But I absolutely think that running on top of each other too much when it's too close of a vicinity, too many classes, and then not having either for like sprint cars and some of the stuff that's just more 2-day shows are absolutely necessary. And it seems to work everywhere we've gone. 2-day shows pretty much out of state of where, I mean, we're talking Wyoming too. So it's not like we're going to these huge places, you know, it's not like we're going to Knoxville and trying to do a 2-day show. It's small towns. Sholo was absolutely packed in the middle of nowhere for that 2-day that we watched after those guys left here. So yeah, I would like to see them back down the shows and just make them bigger shows. And then it's like guys that start racing for points, they'll bring junk out some nights that's not ready, especially in like, you know, you'll see that in a lot of those IMCA classes, guys' cars are just destroyed and they're just thrashing to get them back together. And that burns them out. I mean, it burns you out trying to fix stuff, especially in a class where you're beating and banging. And then you try to go put it back on the track. Now you have a subpar piece. And then guys by the end, that's even like me there for a while. I was like, I am smoked. And it becomes not fun. And then it's like, well, you know, then you start questioning everything. Then you start noticing how much money you're spending. It's like, you know, my wife finally asked me this. She goes, what did those cost? You know, I had some new titanium torsion stops show up and I must have told her $20. So I was talking about it with Tom and she goes, was that the ones you said were $20? And I never lied to her about it. She doesn't care. We go over all our budgets and finances together. But I was like, maybe I slipped on that one because it's been absolutely astronomical this year. Maybe I was trying to just
$20
feel better about chewing her out for some $high hairspray or something.
Right. Yeah. You're
$100
hairspray, and Blair's over here spending $200 on. Anyways,
well, hey, I got them. So just so you know, the ones that the Smith titanium ones are $218 a.
That's what I was just gonna say.
I didn't get those. No, I got the Eagles. Okay. So anyway, I got them on a big discount.
There you go. But no, I was actually going to say, to Mark's point there, makes the cost of travel worth it 100%. There's a financial piece there too. That's like, you're accomplishing the same goal, right? Like if you want to do 2 points races back to back, Friday, Saturday, or just shows that are paying big payouts, like your team's already there. Like they'd rather spend, well, I don't even know, $200 a night and for another hotel rate, and your truck and rig is already parked there, and you just travel maybe 10, 15 miles, depending on how close the track is to the nearest hotel, but you're already there and you're saving diesel. Like if you were going back-to-back weekends, holy smokes, double the cost. But if you're already there, I think there's a financial aspect that helps there too. So yeah, great question, Mark.
Well, and I think just to put a button on that is when I think promoters are also afraid of like, oh, well, we're going to have to support the sprint cars 2 nights. Or late models. I've seen a lot of the 2-night late, whatever it is of the whatever that is in their area. Like if you're down in the Southeast, it's going to be late models. It's not sprint cars that draw the people. You know, some places like the midgets or whatever. And even these big, but Mark will tell you these 600 shows and stuff that they're running, if they get a ton of cars, I mean, you get anything that's bigger money, stuff like that, people show up. And I mean, even the car counts, you can make some more money off the back gate if you got 70 cars that show up for these nationals or big events. But to break it up to 2 nights, I thought that was actually a pretty good idea. The first time we raced the 2 nights at Calhan was one night you had midgets as another attraction. So the people that really wanted to get there were going to come check that out. And then the other classes. And then you had the next night where I think it was late models. You had 2 nights of sprint cars and then some nights, maybe if you're like in a local area, you know, or a local track that's got some people that are able to travel both, maybe you could do 2 nights of late models and bring a 1-night sprint car show once a year or something. You just can't do that every weekend and justify a show anymore. It just does not make sense with the travel. You know, diesel was $505. I had $125 going an hour and 15 minutes each direction towing the trailer, and it's like that just kills. It absolutely just kills.
No, and I think in the world we live in, with economics the way they are and prices the way they are, maybe it's time for promoters to think about that and say, hey, we're going to run half the weekends, but we're going to run the same amount of races. So just plan on, you know, and they don't all have to be double headers, but
no, just for your bigger shows. But and then your IMCA classes, make sure those guys have had 1 week break, even if it's every other week. Some of these, when they're trying to do it every weekend, that just, you know, if you're trying to squeeze in 25 races at a local track, you know, unless you were lucky enough to have just a race car mecca at a few of these but that's very few and far between in the country anymore.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's a great question you posed, Mark. I appreciate that. And we'll jump to Mark Ashcraft again. Again, appreciate the mailbag engagement here. And we propose to you all that you jump in here and get us stuff to talk about and debate on the show, because that's what it's about. So next question.
I think he's the only one of our fans that can probably read, so that helps. but so he knows how to enter the mail.
Here I am trying to, talk our fans up, and Blair's like, well,
if they're listening to us, they're
well, you can do voice to text. I'm sure if you're on your phone, you can talk. Anyways, Mark's next question is, do you feel we as a team, owners, drivers, are doing a good enough job ourselves of being ambassadors to our region and helping promote the sport? Or do you feel this should be solely be on the promoters using the drivers as tools? So 2-part question again.
You want
ambassadors? Sure, I'll start. I think, well, let's remove you and I, obviously, because of this platform for a second. I think we're trying to be good ambassadors, right? And spread the good word about racing and trying to keep it alive and all the things we do. But I don't know, it's kind of twofold, Mark. I feel like if you have a strong at-track presence in a social media, because that's where it's all at, if you do good on or do well at both those things, I think you are being a good ambassador. But if you kind of just go to your 9 to 5 and you're not promoting it, whether it's at your place of work or in your local community, or sharing, promotions or events or schedules on your social media pages or in person, I feel like you're probably not doing as good a job as you could. Not everybody, right, has a podcast that they do, or whatever, radio station or YouTube channel, whatever the hell it may be. But everybody has, if you're watching this show, you have a social media account and you can do your part by simply just sharing the schedule, right? Or an upcoming event. Hey, we're going to be there this weekend. You should come out. It's X amount of dollars, get a free hot dog, whatever. Do your part. So I think, generally speaking, I think people do a good job of being ambassadors for the sport, and everyone wants to keep racing. Everyone wants to keep this scene alive, especially in the Colorado area where we've kind of seen peaks and valleys with tracks closing and opening and car count and asses in the seats and all that. Second part of that question, 100% it should be on promoters. That's their job, to promote, get asses in the seats. They're trying to make a living as well. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there, but 100% it's the same, drivers, fans, crew, everybody has to do their part. And it does start with the promoters, because just like I said, if the very least you do is share a schedule or an event that's upcoming that weekend or further out, if the promoter is not putting that out there, flyers, back in the day, or marquee billboard signs or radio ads or whatever, and nowadays social media, if they're not posting the schedules or the events, then it's hard for us to do our job. So it's twofold, but 100%. And I guess to your point, well, I guess he doesn't ask if promoters are doing a good enough job, but I'll add that in there. I think generally speaking, they are, for at least Colorado. But yeah, what say you, Blair?
Well, the thing on the promotion side of it is I always feel like that it is a little behind. And like he even mentioned, going to schools and events to promote it, because it's not a stick and ball sport, and you really have to keep the kids coming. We talk about that all the time. And then I also
I didn't even see that comment. I'm sorry. I was blabbing.
Yeah, no. So I do agree. That gets a little bit harder, but the car shows with the trick or treat trunk events, I've done some of that. And then people will trunk or treat. There you go. Yeah. So where kids
can't read. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I can't.
You can't talk.
Yeah. No. Well, we know I'm dumb, but yeah, that goes without saying. But that you do have to promote in the community. A lot of times it seems like there's less incentive to do it. I think a lot of the community part has gone away. It just seems like that's just a truth about our society as a whole. I do see some of it coming back. I hear kids starting garage bands, stuff like that. But my big gripe is that promoters and racetracks are always a step behind, or they don't ever see the value. Like in this, we've talked to promoters, like even when we had Gary on the show, he truly sees that we can reach ears. This is the old terrestrial radio. We might as well, like you and what we're doing is basically a baseball show from the 1990s or 80s that went out, except ours is not one town, right? We may hit the same size audience, whether it's 10,000, 15,000 people, and whether they listen to us, we see an average, like you get the people that are in and out for 5 minutes, you get the people that stick around, say, so there's 5,000 people over the next week that stick around for the entire show, or at least 30 minutes or more of it. I mean, we see all that on the back end. So if you're in this area or even in the region, and I know that they got a lot of stuff going on, the promoters trying, and you hear about it on podcast, and you got, people invested in the drivers, otherwise you don't know these guys. I'm not on TV like you'll know Kevin Harvick because he raced NASCAR forever. You get the up and coming kids, you get a lot of these people that someone can cheer for and bet a quarter on or $1 every race. That seems to help. So it is kind of funny that we don't have more. We have a lot of people reach out to us. Not one outside of Gary has been a track promoter or a series promoter. We get people from all sorts of industry. The business people in the parts sector that sell race parts and stuff, we've talked to them. We don't have a lot of deals there yet, and shame on me, because that's kind of on our end of it, maybe that's a missed opportunity. But to grow the industry as a whole, it has to be more commercialized, and you have to hit people where they are. And obviously podcast and streaming now, which streaming is beyond me because I'm not in the Gen Z. I'm not going to just film myself 24 hours a day. But there's kids out there that are going to do it. Yeah. But for the races, it's like they will have cameras in the trailer live streaming all day. And it's just, that's the other thing. But people have to be invested in people. Otherwise, the storyline is not just cars going around the racetrack. They don't care enough. The human interest piece is always a story, whether that's football, you develop a team, a player that's passed down to your kids, a sponsor even. I mean, sometimes people just love the memorabilia. Look at Coca-Cola memorabilia is still one of the highest selling things in the world. So you have to find people where they are. So that's kind of my rant on it. But it seems like now the promoters are we make Facebook flyers and ads, and we call that good. And there's so much noise out there that just doesn't cut it anymore. You need to have edited video for your track to really promote it. The clips, the reels, everything else is what's going to put people back, say, hey, that looks actually fun enough for me to go. Like the Williams Grove clips with the vapor trails where they're really fun. It's nuts. It makes me want to fly out there, even if I'm not racing, just be like, that is awesome.
Mm-hmm. And I think, system. And I see a lot of comments there saying, and growing up in Cheyenne with Big Country Speedway, like we talked about last week, I remember and I think it might still be there. I haven't driven past this specific area in the couple times I go back every year, but there was a Midas on Lincoln Way, and they had this one mini stock, black and yellow. I don't know the driver. Someone in the comments, if Dean's watching, he could probably tell me, but like throughout the year, even in the off season, that car would be sitting in their parking lot as you drove by. Could not miss it. And there was like multiple deals like Grease Monkeys and that kind of thing, where people that were sponsored by them, that, hey, just drop the car off for a Saturday or a weekend and let people see it. We need that kind of thing. And I know that takes time, effort, and money from the drivers and so forth, but it is hard in the world that we live in, because everybody, especially these youngsters, as you alluded to, they are behind the keyboard. They are on their phones. They are on their tablets. They're not going out and cruising the strip like, even we used to, let alone people back in the day. So it is a little bit challenging there, but I think everybody can, and it's a lesson learned, right? Everybody could always improve on what they're doing. I'm I can't remember. Well, at least that I'm not crazy. There is a Midas, or there was on Lincoln Way. You know exactly what I'm talking about. He's not from Cheyenne, but anyway, so that's my piece about that.
Well, it's just conversion rate, right? You have to make it compelling enough for somebody to get their butt off the couch. And I mean, even the streaming, we've talked about that a lot. That helps. It's just that you now need to convert, whether with the fan experiences, with something for the kids that makes them, I mean, that's just really what drags it out. If dad wants to go, you have to have something else there or something to promote for that. And obviously I don't run a racetrack, so we can be critical. I don't have to do it. I would love to see a lot of the back end, or them to get with business people in the new era. The tracks that have adapted, and I don't always like the excuse, oh, well, those guys use this as either a write-off or something like that. Because it's like, generally guys that are really good at business are good at business at whatever. They're not doing stuff for just to hold their breath and say, hey, this is going to be, we're going to take a bath on this. That's not how business works. If you work with enough big companies or independently wealthy businessmen that's not the goal. That's never the goal. Is to make this sustainable so that it can last, or we can sell it when we're tired of it, and it's not going to go by the wayside, because obviously they love it too. So, and that's a lot of places need that. But you got to just, it is a grind, and I'm sure it is a grind. And I hate asking people for sponsorship. So let alone, for the car. And it's like, I really could use the help, but so same thing for the track. It's like, yes, but you have to offer a benefit to them. If it's a benefit, they'll come back, because if you're helping me and I'm helping you, this is good for everybody. I don't know why there's not billboards at tracks anymore. I do not understand that. I mean, even for your TV, if you are streaming, that thing should be painted up and look like a golf course.
Absolutely.
That alone is huge. It's like, this is a nice place to go.
No, 100% agree. They're
weeds mode at some of these places. It's like, cut the weeds. Jesus.
Right. No, I fully agree. Like if it's your track or the track you're promoting and it's going to be televised or streamed nowadays, man, get something, you know what I mean? Like,
even if you're doing your own streaming, like, do your own streaming just to get it out there. People will become engaged. It is obviously an engaging sport. I mean, and video sucks for racing, but they're getting better at it. So get the equipment. It's not that expensive. I just bought a brand new GoPro that films 360, it was a few $100. And now the content I'll be able to make again is, I don't know, maybe I'm.
Yeah, no, it's all fair points, and great question, Mark. So we appreciate that. If you too want to be, have your comment or your question or suggestion aired live on one of these episodes, definitely click on the link. It's super easy. I dropped it in the chat a few minutes ago, but click that. 3 simple questions: your name, your comment, question, suggestion, and how we're doing, just to give us a sense of sponsor people, not just winners. Absolutely. Yep.
That's exactly right. So anyway, sorry to cut you off. I've just been, you got me I felt my blood pressure go up, and it's like, we all want this to work so bad. But it's like, it has to be on all ends. And I'm sure, and that's why I say I try to be constructive, and it may come off as critical. Who are we? But at the same time, like, you see what's we didn't like about this weekend. And I'm sure you're going to have 100 different opinions, but we also go a lot of places. You get guys that go a lot of places and see what's works. It's like, take some of that. If you're a promoter, you should be going. And I see Alan at, vice versa. All these guys going to other places and see how the shows run.
Absolutely.
Check out your competition, scope the competition, and see what works and what doesn't. So anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. That's exactly what the mailbag is for. It gets us thinking about, and we don't even look at these questions. I have to look at them like briefly just to see how many and if we have any, but we do not talk about this in the pre-show or anything. So this is live, raw emotion and reaction to it. So if we can keep this going, that would be great for everybody. So appreciate you, Mark, and shoot as many as you want over to us, and we'll keep your name alive and well in the show if you want to keep going. So thank you for that. We are at the top of the hour with the show. I don't know, Blair, did you want me to tell that story or save it for another rainy day?
It's up to you, buddy. If you want to go for it, fire it off.
Yeah. So how did we even get on the topic of that?
I have the Dale Earnhardt phone behind me.
Right. Yes. So Blair in the pre-show busts out this badass. Yeah, he's got it. Dale Earnhardt.
I don't know if you could see it, the reflection, but it's in the box. It's the original. I don't know if anybody's ever seen one. I found this on the Goodwill deal one day when Tara and I were out, and it was brand new in the package. So anyway, go ahead. Yeah. That's what it started it.
Yeah, so that started it, and then growing up in the era that Blair and I did, there was a show called Jersey Shore back in the 2010, 11 era, and
Jimtown Laundry.
Jimtown Laundry. Grenades, cabinet here. Anyway, I was a fan. That was the dumbest show.
I could tell you loved it.
Yeah. But anyway, in that show, they had a duck phone, and it was a mallard duck, similar like that Dale Earnhardt phone, plug into the wall. We don't see phones anymore nowadays. But anyway, Blair brought up the Dale call, which was a ad and probably a huge money grab for Dale Earnhardt Jr. For his Mountain Dew. It was a kind of like a Team Snooki. There you go. Mark knows what's up. But anyway, his PR team came out with this Dale call. It was like in the shape of a duck call, but had like a full ass motor with open headers on it. And anyway, if you didn't blow into it or actually make a call, you just hit a button and it would be like the engine revving up or whatever. But yeah, wow, look at this. You're starting a whole trend in here. Dean's got a Richard Petty phone. BJ's got a Bill Elliott.
Oh, wow.
Y'all
This
can
is
talk to
awesome.
each other on these NASCAR phones. I'm going to have to get me
My phone will kick your phone's ass.
Yeah, probably. Story ends with Blair's phone put you in the wall. Anyway, so quick story on the Dale call. So as I alluded to last week in the episode, obviously growing up huge NASCAR fans, when I moved to Charlotte, I went and toured mainly all the big NASCAR shops, and my mom and sister flew out one time, and my old boss had a pontoon boat on Lake Norman, which is where all the NASCAR drivers live. They all have docks and whatever. So we're booze cruising, all day on the lake. And my mom I think they were leaving the next day. She's like, oh man, I want to get one of them Dale calls. And we were in Mooresville, where Junior Motorsports is at. And it's like, I don't even know, 3:00 by the time we dock, and Junior Motorsports closes at like 4 or something. And I'm like, at the time I had a new Chevy Colorado, and I'm incriminating myself here. I was probably not okay to drive because the amount of, beer that I had been drinking all day on a boat. And I was like, I'm going to get you there. Yeah, I'm going to get you there. I'm going to get you a Dale call, right? So I'm literally, as my mom would tell the story, like I came into Junior Motorsports on 2 wheels. I don't think it was quite that bad, but you could hear the tires, that's for sure. Because I was like, mom doesn't live here. I'm going to get her one, whatever. And so we come hauling ass in there. We go in there, and they're like closing up the gift shop there. And we get one. And this was before I had actually met Dale Jr. And so my mom's like, we're here. Where's Dale Jr.? Like, it's closing time. He's probably, leaving. And she's like, oh, you guys didn't just see him? And we're like, what? And she's like, no, and that little black S10 that you just passed, that was him. And I was like, oh, damn it. Like, I should have turned around and just flipped the what and chased him around. But no, that was should have not been driving going into Junior Motorsports on 2 wheels to get a damn Dale call, which whatever. But everybody's got their thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's cool. Anyway. I mean, when you're on Lake Norman, you got to be pretty white trash most of the time. So that's right.
Call a spade, I guess. But it was fun. Yeah, but it was kind of cool. Like, it's, Casey Kane Racing is right there. Like, it's all right there. And she's like, oh yeah, he just left. Like, you passed him in that little black S10. I was like, well, son of a bitch. But I got to meet him anyway, so it worked out. So anyway, we'll have to get some NASCAR phones and start a trend, bring them back.
Yeah, let's get landlines and shake it up. We'll all call each other.
Dude, hell no, that shit's probably like $150 a month.
I know, it's probably more expensive. It's like trying to buy a manual transmission now. It costs you more than the automatic.
Yeah, like $8,000. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, good talk about Dale calls and NASCAR phones.
Yeah, Richard Petty phones. I'm gonna have to start a collection if I could find them original in the box. That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah. I don't even. Where would you eBay? I don't know.
I got mine at Goodwill.
Yeah, Goodwill, eBay.
So you're gonna have to hunt around the country for fun. My wife would love that too. I have a picture of Dale Earnhardt over my bed in our bedroom that I've had since I was a bachelor. So he's seen some things.
Oh, you're
just kidding.
You're lucky. All my racing stuff, it has to be condoned to this whole room and in my closet here to my left that you can't see. But yeah, there's no NASCAR stuff leaving this room for me. So consider yourself blessed. I don't know how it
even got put up there. I think that's when I was still partying. So I probably just hammered Dale's shadow box picture up there.
Hey, you walk into a house and Dale Sr.'s hung up on the wall, it's about to be a badass party.
That's it. We are.
Just says,
white, no, who's white trash now, huh?
Yeah, talking about that. No, you can't see them, but I have 2 Dale Earnhardt life-size cutouts on either wall. Actually, I could probably move my camera. You can see it.
And they're all sticky.
There's one. Yeah, they're all sticky. Right. Now I moved my camera. Now we're all messed up. See what I did? Anyways, we're gonna end the show on that note. So good banter from you all. We appreciate you all, and I think we are gonna try to get a guest for next week. So stay tuned to the pages. And drop your comments, questions, suggestions in that mailbag. We're looking forward to that. Keep that alive and well. But we will see you next Monday, 7:30 Mountain. I almost said Eastern. That's not correct. 7:30 Mountain. And we didn't even touch on Knoxville, but that starts this Friday for the 360s. Goes in on to when's the 6th? Sorry, Thursday, and the main event's Saturday the 8th. Then you get a couple day break, and the 410 starts. So if you got dirt vision, or YouTube. Definitely check that out. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I know we got to get out of here, but
QBC. Dean, I love that. I haven't.
Yeah, that's
QBC. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, that, and then does she still have her Dale call? Kirk wanted to know.
It's a great question. I'd have to ask.
Like one of those big mouth Billy Bass.
Yeah, we had those too, and the catfish. That was cool. After last week's episode, I was telling Blair this at the racetrack. My sister texted me about the comment about the Bandoleros and her wrecking it, which is still true. If she's listening, that you'd still wreck it 100%. And then I asked my mom because of the lawnmower deal, and I had sent Blair 2 photos that I had on my Facebook. I think it was like one of the last seasons we did it, but I asked her to get some of the good photos, right, in the mix of lawnmower racing. So when and if she sends me those, I'll post them on our page so you can see the good old days. So, and I'll ask her if she still has the Dale call. I doubt it, but who knows with that lady? She's got everything. So.
Yeah. And all the guys in here, just before we go, all the guys in here, make sure you text Steve Becker or send him a message and tell him, hey, this is where you find it, old man. So Anyway, he'll know. He'll like it.
I thought we made it pretty easy to watch us, but maybe not. Maybe we need to do better.
Full of shit.
I know.
So.
I know. All right, Steve. Everybody. Yeah, we appreciate you tuning in tonight, and hopefully you enjoyed the content. Something just fell upstairs. That was awkward. Hopefully it wasn't my kid. So on that note, we're going to end the show, and we'll see you next Monday. Keep throwing those sliders. This was another production of Scrubbin' Tires Media. The Throwin' Sliders podcast is hosted by Blair Cooper and Brandon Hall. Video and audio was created by Bryce Holcomb. Please like, share, and leave a 5-star review. And as always, keep throwing those sliders.